as it passed by, I saw that it was Michelle. And so, even though we really didn't know each other that well, at that point I yelled out, "Michelle!" And she screeched on the brakes, backed up, pulled into the driveway, got out, was like, "What's up? How you doing?" And we started chatting about this and that. And it turns out, like, she was trolling the neighborhood, looking for something to do, and she was one of the few folks one of the few girls our age who actually had a car, so that was very cool. And as desperate times call for desperate measures, she stopped, backed up, and decided to talk to me. So we were chatting, leaning against the car, and the silliest thing sort of transpired. As I was thinking about my speech, I Googled it to say, okay, what should the structure be? And is it always tell a story about how you all met? And so I was thinking, okay, is there something like exciting, emotional, salacious, all those things that have actually happened in the 35 years of our friendship, but wasn't the starting point of our friendship. And what happened was, as we were leaning against her car, and we both know this story very intimately. It's so really silly and trivial, but I started sort of petting the hair on my arm, and she looked at me. She said, "Oh my God, I do that too." That's all it took. It was like this commonality, this instance of something we had in common, even though we weren't really friends at that point. And so she said, "Hey, are you doing anything? You want to go troll the neighborhood with me?" And I was like, "I have all these weeds to pull." And she's like, "Frick, let me help you pull those weeds so we can go." And sure enough, she helped me, and that actually became a routine that she had to come help me with my chores so we could go, get into trouble later on. And that was the beginning. Right then, we knew there was something special about our friendship. We had, we connected. So that's the intro. So our friendship has survived. Our friendship has survived its shares of ups and downs through our crazy, angst-ridden teenage years, full of fun and fights and forgiveness. Through our 20s with long distances. So I was in the Army, and I left right at 17 to get the heck out of El Paso and traveled the world. But it really survived that, our long silences, and then ultimately a resurgence of friendship that was even stronger than before. Through our 30s with adventure and wine and writing retreats gone awry, so we were always going out for ridiculous retreats, whether it was meditation or writing or something, always game. And into our 40s, our late 40s, with families and new beginnings and love. Michelle, this is where I tear every time I practice this. I freaking teared up in front of my daughter, even because it's just special and it's true. Michelle, you're like a bright star, full of energy and light that touches everybody that you care about. You've not just been a best friend to me. You've been a sister to my brother. You've been an aunt to my kids. And you've been a daughter to my mom, and a non-judgmental daughter, unlike me, to my mother. And you are so loving. And anybody who knows her knows she's sarcastic and witty as hell. And that's been since she was a teenager, and I love that about her. And the thing is, she's determined not just to live, because we all can choose to live, but Michelle chooses to thrive. To thrive in this life, making the most out of this wonderful life. Your magic is and the magic about you is that you bring people along with you. It's not just about you or who's in front of you. She wants this for everybody, to thrive in our life. Infusing everybody's lives with passion, adventure, and very sage counsel. You're generous with your time and with your love. This is beautiful. Right now, it was easy for me through all of our years, knowing all the things that I know about Michelle, to know that one day she would fall in love, that she would know love, and that she would find a life mate that would complete her. I remember describing when we were young in our early 20s what falling in love felt like, what connecting with someone who's your soulmate felt like. How they made you feel, this deep, crazy, intense, indescribable feeling of joy, and this sense of vulnerability, but at the end of the day not caring, because that was the one, he was the one. And I know intellectually Michelle got it, but I think by the time we hit our late 30s, she had sort of accepted that, hey, this wasn't in the cards for her, and she was okay with that. I remember, like, in her late 30s, she was independent and thriving, traveling, having a grand old time, and then she met Mark. There was a first date, and a second date, and then another. And I remember when she described you to me, Mark, and she said things like, oh, he's so handsome, he's easy to talk to, he's a good kisser, he's persistent, adventurous, and creative. And I remember she shared with me one of the things that you wrote to her, and it was about, it described him running. And it said something to the effect of how beautiful the trail was with the undulating seagrass waving in the wind and in the breeze. So poetic, and I thought to myself, oh my God, that guy's a keeper. So then, one day, like a couple of months into their dating relationship, Michelle described to me sort of this unsettled feeling, like full of butterflies every time she thought about him, was around him, full of angst. It was very disconcerting to her. And she's like, what the hell is going on? Something is not right. This isn't right. I don't feel good about this. There's no way. This felt like the physical symptoms of falling in love. No way. She didn't believe it. Too much to risk. She was happy, not being in love. She had her condo, her independence, her traveling, and it was really crazy for me to see her going through this. Struggling with this and trying to understand it, and oftentimes actually trying to resist it. We were trying to resist it. But then, on a very special day, and it's momentous because it was a momentous day for you, I know that, on April 10th, when she was on a date with Mark and they were abalone diving, she described this to me, that the truth hit her so hard, she just couldn't deny it anymore. And frankly, she didn't want to deny it anymore. Like, she was in love with Mark. And she felt it so completely, so deeply, that there was just no fighting it. This was the guy. This was her guy. And she described it later that at that moment, even though the vulnerability of loving someone so completely was still there, it really ceased to matter. He had her heart and soul. Mark, I'm so incredibly happy that the two of you found each other, and that you persisted, because I know there was some persistence and some work in that, and that you knew Michelle was something amazing, and that you were her match. You so clearly make each other happy and bring out the best in the other. And in marrying you, Michelle not just gets a wonderful, amazing guy, she gets such a sweet family. I love you both. So with that, I would ask you to raise your glasses for a toast. I go down to get my glass. May the both of you have a long life of love, laughter, and light.
Cheers, cheers.
Cheers, babe.
Woo!
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, Tony. Cheers, Julie. Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Now I can drink.
Woo!
Follow that up.
She did.
I have no stories of Mark and I meeting when he was hauling tail in the Datsun. We met in high school.